Hey, there's Wade. How's it going, Wade? Good to see you, my friend. Eugene, welcome. Don's here. Welcome, Don.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. How you doing?
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. Mauricio's here. What's up, Mauricio? Cool. Well, guys, you're gonna hear this several times because I'm gonna apologize again when more people get on. But I am sorry about last week. I had a small emergency a couple of hours um, before the call and just spaced it. So my bad. This is the first time this has happened since we started Ask Mitch Anything more than a year ago. My goal is to never do that again. So I'm sorry. My apologies. Your all of your time is valuable to me. I know you come here for value, and I failed you last week, so I'm sorry. We'll let a few more people get on here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We got some cool stuff for you today. We're doing a property walkthrough. This is Wade. This is a property you're in on. This is 3990. We're going to talk about all the mistakes I made, and talk about some. People don't like talking about the hard stuff in real estate investing. So we're going to have one of those calls today. We're going to talk about the hard stuff, and we're going to go through mistakes I made and lessons I learned, and that way, hopefully, you guys don't have to make the same mistakes. But Wade, just so you know, they're in there staging it right now. So you're gonna see the stagers in there. We're listing it by Thursday. It should be on the market by Saturday. We're having an open house is the goal if the stagers are done, that is, and then we should be pushing it. So we have I think a significant amount of profit because of the time we held it. One of the morals of today's story is time heals all in real estate, right? You hold something long enough, it's going to appreciate to a point where you're making money. So it was a rough go with this one, but we're still Wade, you and I are still going to make a lot of money on it. So I'm excited.
I'd say.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I came in the picture, Wade, at the tail end, like right when the flip was finished. That's when I came in the picture, and I've been working closely with this property and Mitch ever since.
Yeah. So Tyson's going to be giving us a walkthrough today, but a lot of really good lessons learned. We definitely got our value and knowledge out of this one. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and getting it ready to be listed on Thursday has been a joint effort between them and myself, because their job is to stage it and make it look good, but then they find things that need to be addressed before they can finish staging. Like windows haven't been cleaned since we finished flipping it in September of 2019. So today I cleaned all the windows on the exterior, and then like removing ugly screens so it can show better, replacing doorknobs that got removed for a purpose in the past, just random, like a whole list of random things like that.
Yeah. So we've actually held this property since when did we buy it, Tyson? Do we know? I want to say into 2018.
I don't know, because I wasn't in the picture with you when you bought it. We have records on Google Drive that I could go take a look at real quick.
No, that's all good, but I think, Wade, do you know off the top of your head? It was end of 2018, I think. You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. So, what was your response to that question? I saw you talking.
Oh, I don't remember exactly. It's been a while.
It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been I think 2.5 years that we've held this property. This is one of the ones for those of you who are just jumping on the call. We're going to be walking through a property today. One of the things about people in my industry and coaches is they don't like to talk about the ugly
mistakes.
side of real estate investing,
Yeah.
right? Nobody wants to talk about that stuff. It's all supposed to be unicorns and rainbows, and we just make a lot of money and do nothing, right? But I'm no different than anybody else. For those of you who know me well, I have a lot of pride and a lot of ego, and just like anybody else, right? Maybe even a little bit more. And, you know, I don't like to talk about the stuff I did wrong, but this is value to you. And that's what this call is intended for, is to provide value to you, the students, right? And it's important for you to see what can go wrong and how to fix it. Because while things did go wrong on this property, I think we did a very good job of maintaining it. You know, goes back to kind of our some of the fundamentals that we teach, like the debt equity blend. You know, Wade and I could have lost our shorts on this deal, but we didn't. We actually are still, we're going to make a decent chunk of money because we structured the deal right from the beginning. So the way we're going to structure this, Tyson, are you ready to do a walkthrough, my friend?
Not ready at the moment, but I will get ready.
Okay,
I
maybe
just
we'll
gotta
do the
go
discussion.
inside basically.
I'll let you kind of get ready, and we'll keep talking for a sec. Just let me know when you're ready to start doing the walkthrough, and then we'll probably do the rest of the lesson after, because then I think the question and answers will be a little more poignant at that point.
Yeah.
So
I also just barely looked up the settlement date for this property when you purchased it. It's December 17th, 2018.
so basically at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. So we're going on 2 years. I mean, it's 2 years and a month, right? We've had it for 25 months now. Wade, bless his heart, has been patient with me. Actually, all the equity partners have been patient with me. So I think a few things. Tyson, go ahead and kind of move towards doing the walkthrough. I'll just keep talking until you let me know you're ready. But I think one of the things that's important about that, and Wade, I'd love to hear your feedback. I think it'd be very useful to the rest of the people on the call. But one of the things that I think I did right, and you know, we talk about this every time we go out and do a deal, we have a conversation about the risks, right? And so Wade, you know, I think the conversation you and I had is similar to the one we have every time, and the one I have with every equity partner that jumps into a deal, and that is, look, the way we're structuring this, there really isn't that big a risk of you losing money, no matter what happens. If the market changes, if the, you know, whatever, the real risk here is that we're going to be in the deal longer than we expect. Right. And of course we all thought, hey, you know, 6 months is a little bit bigger property. So 6-7 months we'll be in and out of this thing. Well, here we are, month 25, and we're just getting ready to put it back on the market. Do you have any thoughts on that, Wade? I mean, you've been very patient with me, and part of that I think is your nature, but the other part of it is were the expectations set correctly from the beginning?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me was just patience. You know, all things eventually come to an end, and sometimes longer than we might want, but it does end up for the better if you're patient.
It does. Absolutely. And that goes back to the 5 currencies. You know, I think, you know, knowledge being the second currency, obviously time's the first currency, but in talking about what's pertinent in allowing a property like this that we were planning on holding for 7 months, that we ended up holding for 25 months, and probably will be 26 months by the time we actually get it sold, is currency number 2 and currency number 3, knowledge and relationships, right? So from a knowledge standpoint, it goes back to the idea that in real estate investing, time heals all. In real estate investing, time heals all. No matter how far upside down you are on a property, if you hold it long enough, it will appreciate, with very few exceptions. It will appreciate to a point where you will make money on that deal. Now, maybe that number's 2 years. Maybe that number's 5 years. Maybe that number's 10 years. I don't know. It depends on the property. In this case, you know, we put it on the market. We couldn't get out of it what we wanted to get out of it in order to make our money. And it just sat there, right? We turned it into an Airbnb. We had some problems with that we're going to talk about in a second. And now we put it back on the market once kind of in the interim there. And it just sat on the market, right? Now we're doing it again. We're very confident it'll sell. We've got an amazing strategy that we're going to talk about a little bit. But but going back to that truth of, you know, time will heal all in real estate. You got a bad deal, just hold on to it for a while, figure out what to do with it for a while. But that second currency comes in because you have to structure the deal so that you can hold on to it long-term if necessary, right? And this is why the debt equity blend that we just pounded death as our strategy for raising money, the debt equity blend is so important, because that is what allowed us to pivot and be able to hold this property. So the second point is that third currency, relationships. Wade brought up patience, and I gotta say, Wade, you're probably the most patient person I know. And that's, you're one of the kindest and most patient people that I associate with. That's a compliment to you, but that paid off in the long run, right?
Sure.
It's not, I think, Wade, I didn't go into this deal thinking, I'm going to tell him 7 months and it's really going to be 27 months, right? None of
Right.
us intended for that stuff to happen. So making the relationship go bad because our intended result didn't come about, that's not going to help anybody.
No.
Right. So now, because we hung out for as long as we did, we're all going to make off with more money than we would have in the first place. I think we're approaching $100,000 in profit total on this deal,
Awesome.
which is way higher than our original anticipation of, I think 60 is what we were originally planning on. So time heals all in real estate. Now we're going to dive a lot more into some of the problems. I'm sure Tyson will bring some of them up as he's walking us through the property here, but Tyson, why don't you go ahead and start us on the tour?
All right. So I'm outside right now. I just want to start on the outside because that's what you do when you're walking through a property. You start walking in from the outside. And unfortunately, you can't see it very well right now. I wish the sun was a little bit higher because that orange spot in the center of the screen, that's a sunset, and it used to be glorious like 10 minutes ago. But Mitch, we're going to clean up the front of this property so that it shows better. An open house. It has some leaves, not a big deal because we get kind of a pass on this one since it's winter, but still it would look better with the leaves gone. So that's my next task. But I'm almost done getting this place ready with all my items. She's gonna put some patio furniture out here on the front porch. We're gonna do a little scrub on the surface so that it doesn't have these stains. We can't find the key to this mailbox. So I've been fishing stuff out of there with the needle nose pliers all summer. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, let's see, please spotlight for everyone. Okay. I spotlight on my video so you guys can see my video even if someone else is talking. All right, so this is the entrance. These stairs, Steve did a good job on the railings. The stairs are in kind of an awkward place, but that's where the stairs were when we bought the house. So I'll just give you guys a slow walkthrough. If you have any questions, please come off mute and let me know. Hey, Shelly, I'm giving a walkthrough. I'll keep you out of it, okay? Before Shelly began staging, we had some basic furniture in here just so that we could use it as a short-term rental because that's what it was used as for a while.
Definitely a lot uglier than what Shelly's putting in.
Oh yeah. It was nice furniture, but it didn't really have a theme to it. It was just kind of pieced together with whatever we had available already and stuff that we had to buy to just make it functional and nice enough to be used as a short-term rental. And I was not wanting to move it. And so when Shelly was here starting to Imagineer this whole stage, I asked her with all these different things, can you use this? Do you want to keep this here? And every time the answer was, want to take a guess?
No.
Because she has a vision of how she wants to make it look, and none of the stuff we had included that vision. And that's why we like using her, because she knows what she wants and she goes for it.
And she does a great
How much is the fee for staging? Shelly, you typically charge $2,000 for a stage, right?
Yeah, they run.
Do you mind if I put it on the camera for a moment?
Sorry, what?
Do you mind if I put it on the camera for a moment so people can hear you?
Oh, okay. I look really scary. How about him? Okay.
Okay.
Just let him know I haven't slept or showered in days, so no close-ups.
Can you guys hear Shelly?
So
Yeah, we can hear.
hello.
Hi, Shelly.
Stages run from around 1,800 up to 35. It depends on the house size and how much we do and inside out for the yard and things like that.
So repeat that, Tyson, because she's kind of quiet.
Okay, I'm gonna unhook you from my Bluetooth because I've got my earphones in. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Say that one more time, Shelly, for us.
Oh, okay. So stages run for very small ones. They can start at 1,800, but they usually are around 2,000 to 3,500. And
When you say small, those are partial stages.
well, in part, yeah, those are partial. But when we do full stages, and we do pretty much everything: bedrooms, kitchens, living, hallways, closets. We do whatever we can to help the property just wow people when they come in, so that they'll fall in love with it. So, and then front porch, shadow, indoor, outdoor. Was that good enough?
That's great. Thank you.
I think it
Shelly.
was good enough. Mitch, what do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Mitch. Yeah.
Shelly and Lauren have nailed it every single time with these properties. So they do a fantastic job, as you guys can see. And man, I'll tell you, the construction, Steve does a great job, but it doesn't sell it by itself, right? Shelly are a necessity in order for us to be able to move these properties as quickly as we do. And really, this is our secret weapon. These guys and their staging ability is the difference
There's
between
truth. There's a lot of truth.
it's the difference between what we did last time on this property, the last two times we tried to list it, and what we did this time, right? It was the difference of having, some mediocre discount furniture in there versus the beautiful job that they do with the staging. So it really is the secret weapon.
And
Sorry,
I want to tell a story about that since Mitch just brought it up. This house, as you can see, is beautiful without the furniture. And I'll take this opportunity to introduce the first issue we had with this property. Is we put it on the market, and I don't know exactly why, but maybe it was listed too high originally, but it didn't sell, and it was on the market for a really long time. In 2019 September when it was finished, and so Maylee and Mitch decided to turn it into a short-term rental. And while it was a short-term rental, it wasn't selling because people could never get inside. It was always booked. But and then contrast that to every property that Shelly has staged for us so far has been under contract, has become under contract within 1 to 5 days of putting it on the market for thousands of dollars over asking price. And so we don't know what's going to happen with this property, but the track record is pretty good. We're not going to hold Shelly to that expectation.
You're probably won't sell it. Just kidding.
But we're crossing fingers. Shelly's optimistic about this one because it's a beautiful property and she's excited for what she's going to create with it.
The track record speaks for itself. We have broken our own records with the houses that Shelly and Lauren have staged, and it speaks for itself. It really is our secret weapon at this point to selling a house.
Mm-hmm. And though we do spend more money on the staging, we always make it back so far with the amount over asking price that people pay us for the houses that are staged.
So just a real quick
Yeah.
So Latoya asked, do people typically buy a home with the staging, or is that not an option? Latoya, absolutely. It's going to vary based on the stager that you use. I know, at least I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here. I think
I can answer that question for Shelly.
Yeah.
People often ask Shelly if they can buy the stuff that's in the house, and she's willing to price a lot of it out and say, if you want to buy all these things, you can. Here's the price. She gives a price tag that's a premium over what they would pay at the store because she went out and she found it.
Yeah,
she purchased it. She transported it and set it up, and in many cases she assembled it. And so people often are like, "What? No, that's too much money." But she's like, "Well, then go buy it yourself."
Exactly.
They're quite pricey pieces, so.
And
Yeah, I don't go too much above. I don't know if you want to add that,
go ahead.
but, so a lot of the pieces we use are quite pricey. So they get shocked, even if I only add $10, for stool one time, I was only adding $10 over, but the guy was blown away that they were the price that they were. So they are expensive pieces, but to me, it's worth it because people fall in love with it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Shelly.
And that's, you know, that's always an option for them. So,
And then Shelly has some pieces that are rare and hard to find and very expensive. And so those ones, she is like, no, you can't buy that couch. I had a hard time finding that one.
so while you're continuing to do the walkthrough, so guys, these walkthroughs, Maylee and I have actually started a YouTube channel where we do before and afters, and we've done them. You know, obviously this is kind of a real-time walkthrough, question and answer kind of thing. Our before and after videos that we do, they're about 20 minutes to a half hour long. You can find them on youtube.com/flippin'sexyrealestate. I'm putting that in the chat right now, but you can see a lot of the properties that we've done. You can see the staging work that Shelly's done at the end, the construction process that we do, you know, throughout the time that we hold the property. So, you know, a lot of that stuff is available for you guys to go check out and see at youtube.com/flippin'sexyrealestate. Links in the chat. Actually, it didn't link, so let me change it. I'll do it again.
I think this is good though to show everybody, Mitch, because what we're used to seeing is finished products, but this is real. This house has had some issues in the past, and we've worked through them, and this is being currently staged. So I think most people don't get a chance to see what staging looks like while it's happening.
Yeah.
They usually see the end product. So this is, I think, pretty fun to show them this.
Yeah, for sure. So it's coming together.
This is going to be the baby room. She likes to do a baby room in all the high-end houses, the bigger houses, because if a young couple comes in, they can imagine their baby in this room. It pulls on their heartstrings. And that's kind of what that's one of her specialties, is giving people the warm fuzzies when they walk in every room of the house. And also a fun part about what she does is, I need to fix that. Anyways, is if she finds any, they have a really particular eye for detail, which means they catch pretty much all the defects, all the things that can be improved, and that's good. That's something that I value from them. And so she knows how to decorate in a way that pulls her eyes away from those defects with all the eye candy she puts there.
That's another real benefit of staging in general. I think you know, staging is a great way to make the buyer's eye look at how the space can be used, rather than picking apart, oh, well, look, you know, this baseboard has an inch of it where it's coming away from the wall. You know, those types of things are what people notice in an empty house. However, when a house is staged, what they're looking at is, wow, this space can really be used very, very well, right? And I was actually down at 3990 taking some drone footage earlier for the listing. 3990 is this property.
Oh, you got your drone?
I did. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. Oh yeah, man, it's so fun.
Good.
You know, with and I was having this conversation with Shelly. She's like, you know, I think a big part of this house is it's got a few funky spaces, and people probably just didn't know how to use it. But if we stage it and we stage it right, people are going to know how to use it. Tyson, by the way, when you walk back out, we got to we got to have a conversation about those hanging chairs in the front.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you said funky spaces, because I want to show them that. So
we'll show
I'll probably
you
do that
exactly what I'm talking
next. I want to talk about this room that I'm in right now to everybody. So this is obviously a walk-in closet. It's quite a large size. This room was weird when Mitch first got it.
It's actually 2 rooms.
It was 2 rooms, and the bathroom was still right here, right, Mitch?
No, the bathroom is where the closet is.
That's what I thought. So, and then over here was the bathroom, and the tub was up on a pedestal because they didn't want to do the plumbing correctly, and so they built this like stair pedestal step thing.
So was the toilet, by the way. You had to step up onto a ledge to go to the bathroom.
So they call it the throne, and at this house, that was very literal.
That's right.
And so then they moved the bathroom to over here. And I really like how this bathroom turned out. There's a walk-in shower. I'm turning the light on so you can see better. So this is a pretty awesome bathroom because it has 2 sinks and a tub.
Used to be a bedroom. Now it's a bathroom.
And a walk-in shower. And a toilet. It has a toilet.
Oh, upgrade.
That's not on a pedestal, so it's less of a throne now for people who like to feel power. Sorry. So yeah, let's go back to the main family room, the upstairs family room. Talk about that. So the neighbor came over today, Mitch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I met the neighbor for the second time, and he's like, yeah, well, I was talking to Steve and you guys were in the middle of it and I haven't seen the inside. So I invited him inside to look at it, the finished product. He said that this space that we're looking at was kind of like inset, used to be the back porch.
Yeah. It was part of the outside.
They closed it in, and you can't see it, I'm sure, on the Zoom video, but as you go to that corner over there, it slopes down.
Yeah.
So it's just an odd space, and so we didn't know what to do with it. But Maylee and Shelly, I understand they got together and used their brainstorming powers and figured out they can make it into a porch swing.
Credit where credit was due. I think it was Shelly that came up with that idea.
It probably was.
Yeah.
But rather than making this like this odd space that people don't know what to do with, now it's become kind of the epicenter of where their eyes will be drawn, and they're going to think it's a very attractive space.
Yep. And by the way, we purchased those hanging chairs, so those aren't rented like the rest of the staging is. Those chairs we purchased, and so they'll be sold with the house.
Staying with the house. Yep. And especially because anchoring it was a big deal. I mean, these anchors need to hold 300 pounds, right?
Yep.
So they're going to stay.
Yeah, and they can swivel, so you can swivel them to be, part of the front room, or you can swivel them around to look out those picture windows into the beautiful backyard that you guys can see right now. But it is a really beautiful yard. And this is in a very desirable part of town. This is in Holiday, Utah, which is like the same neighborhood that Mitt Romney lives in. I mean, very affluent area, very beautiful area, very green and whatnot. So, it's a beautiful place. Honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't sold, but very confident this time around, right? We got the secret weapon.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't sell either. But anyways, 3 fireplaces, by the way. Fireplace number 1 is right there. I don't think that one works anymore, Mitch. I think you guys decommissioned it when you flipped it. This one does work. And let's go downstairs because we're pretty much done up here. Well, not quite. There's a laundry room.
And it's not done yet.
And it's not done yet.
Not done being staged.
Shelly takes so much pleasure in the quality of her work. She always disclaims when it's not done yet if I'm showing somebody. She wants to make sure her brand is protected. It's not done yet.
I love it. Perfectionist. That's what you mean.
Yep. And since Holiday is very close to the Wasatch Mountain Range, which has ski resorts, like pretty frequent ski resorts, maybe every 20 miles from or 10 miles as the bird flies. There's lots of ski resorts. So she likes to put themes in houses that she stages, and this is close to the mountain, so it makes sense to have please remove your ski boots. Something I love about old houses, Mitch, they have big garages.
Yeah.
Big 2-car garages. New 2-car garages are a lot smaller, and I don't like that. But
Yeah,
this
I've got that
kind of
problem.
where this staging area, if that with the one that your truck goes in.
Yeah.
Well, both garages, right?
Both of them. Yeah. It's a tight squeeze to fit 3 cars into my 3-car garage.
Yep. I want to feature a couple kitchen things before I go downstairs. Since it's a high-end flip, they got a better fridge, not just a standard fridge. The fume hood, not sure how functional it is, but it sure does look good.
It does function.
I know it functions, but as far as like getting rid of the fumes and the fan that sucks the smoke up, I'm not sure how well it works, but hey, doesn't matter. It looks good. At least that's how I feel about this fume hood.
Aesthetically pleasing. No, and it does work well. We've actually put those in several of our homes. We got one in Almond Street as well, and they're great. They're great vent hoods. Now, a couple of the things. Go ahead, Tyson.
Something that Steve does that I really like is he likes to put microwaves inside the cabinet like this. That's a microwave.
Because a lot of times we'll put the stove in the island, and you don't have upper cabinets to do an over the range microwave. So putting them down in the cabinet is actually a little more of a luxury type, whatever you want to call it. But having it down in the cabinet next to the oven is actually a more desirable thing, and a little bit considered to be a little more luxury than having it over the range. Now,
and I want to say that I mentioned eye candy earlier. She literally puts out edible food. That's edible. That's pasta. There's more food here. And there's more food downstairs, just like it. I see a question from Rosa.
Yeah, so Rosa asked, what types of countertops are those? So these countertops are granite. Yep, and it's a specific pattern that we use. We still use it in our template. It's called, what is it called? Ashen White. Ashen White, ASHEN. And it's basically a gray and white marble with cranberries in it. If you zoom in close, you can see little red specks.
Let's go in close then.
Yeah. See those little red specks? Point a couple of them out there. Yeah, there you go. It's got just a little bit of cranberry in it, which I just think makes it pop, right? So Tyson, if you go around to the other side of the bar, I want to show just a little trick. Very inexpensive, but it will take your cheap bar and it'll make it, or your cheap island or your cheap cabinets. These aren't cheap cabinets. These were expensive cabinets, but it will no, back up. Back up and get a full shot of that. Yeah, there you go. So the board and batten. What we've done with the trim on the back of this island, rather than just putting those little strips over the seams in the cabinets, that just looks hokey to me and it looks very plain and flat. This is just molding. We took this molding and we did this pattern called board and batten. And it just gives it a polished finish, right? It just kind of takes it to the next level. I bet we didn't spend more than $100 in materials and maybe $300-400 in labor to get this done. And that's probably too generous. It was probably cheaper than that. So, but as you can see, like, it's much better than just having a flat back to your cabinets. It takes less than a day for a contractor or even yourself to do. And it just, it gives it that polish. So, and it matches the doors. That's right, Charlotte.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before granite, it was granite, Rosa, granite. I wanted to make a comment about this kitchen. Mitch, I didn't see this house before I started flipping it, but I understand that it used to be a lot more closed off, and you removed a lot of walls here, and which is what this is. It's a beam, right?
That is a beam. Yeah, that was just a sheetrock wrapped beam, and we decided to put this rough cut pine that we just got off the shelf at Home Depot. It was already stained this color. They call it Ghostwood is the color. And it's just rough cut, which means they don't smooth it. They don't put it through a planer after they cut it down. It's literally sawed at the mill. So it's got that rough grain to it. You can see the saw marks. And then they just stain it the Ghostwood color. And it's a tongue and groove solution. So it kind of just snaps together and you nail it in place, and there you go. In fact, I loved this so much when we did it in this flip that I ended up putting it in my personal residence.
Oh yeah.
I've got some bookcases that I built that have that Ghostwood in the back. And again, that's just off the shelf at Home Depot. You'll notice that we did the entryway on the exterior of the house in that as well. So Tyson can show you that when we go back outside. But Tyson, let's anything else you want to talk about in the kitchen, or should we go downstairs?
I want to ask you first, since I didn't see it before you started flipping it. This room used to be a lot more closed off, right?
Yeah, so where the island is, that actually was a wall. We just cut that wall in half, made what's called a pony wall, and then stuck the cabinets up against it. So that kitchen was actually completely enclosed, and the wall came all the way out to where the beam is, and then you had to go, it was like its own room. So you would go in and out of it, and it was just very closed off. It made the floor plan feel very closed off. So we opened it up, and it gives you a very open feel. Now the wall that you can see where the dishwasher is, that wall behind it, we would have opened that up as well, but it's a load-bearing wall, so we couldn't remove it without having an expense in doing some re-engineering and putting another beam in. So our decision was, you know what, we'll put some extra cabinets up there, get some more storage space in the kitchen, and that's the design we ended up going with. So you'll see that we have a template in what we do, right? You'll see those floors as you go back and watch the episodes on the Flippin' Sexy Real Estate channel, and you watch the befores and afters that we do on properties. You'll see those floors we use them in every house, right? The granite, we use it in every house. The cabinets, we use them in every house, right? And so we have a template that we do, but it's not necessarily the same quantity of stuff that we use in every house, because every house's floor plan is different. So there's a little bit, you have a template to kind of make blanket decisions on what materials are going to be used. But then there's a small design process that goes into each property, because every property is such a different floor plan. You've got to kind of take a few minutes and decide what you're going to do with it. So it is luxury vinyl. Yeah, Rosa asked, how about the flooring? Is that luxury vinyl? Yes, it is. Which is nice because it's water resistant. Hardwood floors, you spill water on and you leave it on too long, your floors are going to warp, right? And then the only solution to that is replacing your entire hardwood floor. Whereas these vinyl, you could have a flood and nothing will happen to it. So it feels and looks and has that luxury feel of wood. In fact, most uneducated people that are going through houses wouldn't know the difference, right? Most uneducated in real estate buyers don't know the difference between wood floors and vinyl floors. But this is going to be a lot more durable. It's going to last forever. It's definitely an upsell from a hardwood floor these days.
Okay. Hey, Mitch, I forgot to mention what I found in the master bedroom. Want to talk about that?
Yeah. Why don't you tell the story and then we'll dive into it. Okay. I don't think Wade knows this either, so it's gonna be a shock for him.
Wade?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Wade, buckle up. Just know that, Wade, this is resolved. All right.
It is resolved.
So, yeah. I was in here, and there used to be a dresser that Maylee owns right on that wall, and I was moving that dresser to a different location. It was heavy, and I was by myself, so I removed drawers from the dresser, and as I removed all the drawers, at the bottom of the chest, not inside a drawer, I found a used meth pipe. And I didn't know what it was because I don't do drugs.
So you know what a meth pipe is?
I had no idea what it was. So I'm gonna show my face. So I put it on Facebook. I didn't disclose where I was. I just said, hey, I found this in one of my properties. Does anybody know what this is? I got a lot of responses from people as they're like, that's a meth pipe. funny responses. And so people were like, you need to check your house for meth and all these things, all kinds of advice. So the most common advice was test your house for meth. So you know what I did? I tested the house for meth. I found a lot of meth. What?
You know what we found? Positive for meth.
Guess what we found? Meth. Yeah, and someone I have a contact with a person who has a company called Apple Environmental. His company produces a chemical compound that's used to do meth remediation. And I said, okay, I found this meth pipe. What do I do? and he recommended how to test for meth, where to go get the test from, where to take it to, how to, like, what rooms to test, how to bundle it all together. So I followed his instructions, found that there's a lot of meth in the HVAC system and a lot of meth inside the master bedroom / master bathroom. So then I said, "Hey, sir, I found meth. Now what?" And he said, "Call Ann at Meth Mob and have Ann go and test every room in the house for meth so that she can rule out possibilities. Because if you just say, 'I've got meth, go treat my house,' then all the carpet needs to go. A lot of things need to go, and they need to, like, do the whole house. And that costs a lot of money to remediate the entire house." Anne was able to test every room and rule out almost every room in the house. Now, every room in the house has methamphetamine in it because of the way that vapors diffuse through air. But the only rooms that it was above the state health department legal limit was in the master bathroom and the kitchen downstairs, which is where we're headed right now. So I had Anne come over here. Meth Mob doesn't have marked vehicles. That was a concern of mine. Like, are they going to show up with these big vans, the big white vans and trucks that say Meth Mob across the side of it? Because we didn't want the neighbors to think anything about that. But nope, they show up in unmarked vehicles, and if anyone asks them what they're here for, they say, "We're contractors here doing some work for the owners." So I definitely appreciated that. So now let's go down.
I'm going to dive a little bit more into that too, Tyson, while you're walking downstairs. So, you know, the Tyson brought up the unmarked thing. Meth in a house, meth contamination in the house is a stigma. And, you know, people, they won't buy a house if they think it's a meth house, right? Even if we've cleaned it up sometimes, if they find out, they won't buy it because they think it's a meth house. So, you know, the state recognizes that on the seller's disclosures. And by the way, the state level is very, very conservative. Like, even if it's
yes,
yeah, very conservative. So the fact that, you know, Tyson mentioned, hey, you know, there's trace amounts in other places, that's so far below the state limit, and the state limit is already so conservative anyway, it's not going to have any effect on anybody. And remember, we're talking about, you know, some of the vapors getting on the wall, right? Versus there are people who put this stuff directly into their bodies, you know, and yeah, it messes them up. But we're talking such small amounts. But so we had Meth Mob come in. You know, they were very discreet, which is awesome because we don't want the stigma. And they remediated the house. We had to touch up the paint because the chemical that they use, you've heard the saying, also melt the paint off the walls. The chemical they use literally melts the paint off the walls. Like, it liquefies the paint. It ends up in a puddle on the floor. So we had to do some cleanup, some touch up on the paint. But now we're, you know, we've fixed that, and we're staging it, and we're ready to sell it again. And you know, part of the service of having meth remediation is they will certify it as clean. So they have to go pull a permit in order to do the remediation with the county health department. And then the county will come and do their own independent test. And it's the county that certifies it as clean. So this house now is actually probably cleaner than a lot of your houses because it just went through this process, right? So it's it's clean.
Right. And by the way, when it is found to be contaminated with meth by Meth Mob, she's licensed with the state. She needs to report that to the state. Then the house becomes listed on like, Utah has this part of the Utah Health Department website. It's a list of houses that are condemned, or not condemned, closed to entry because of meth contamination. So our house was on that website. But because she is licensed, once she remediates it and the state comes in and tests it, then they remove the house from that. And then when we're selling the house, if the seller on the seller disclosures or the real estate agent or anybody else asks, "Do you have any knowledge of meth contamination in this house?" The answer is truthfully no, because it was remediated and there is no current meth contamination. Now, the legal limit is like 1 microgram per something. And I think what they found, the highest was like 0.6 in the most contaminated room besides the ones they cleaned up. And the ones that they did clean up, those rooms are 0. That's a good of a job they did. and it didn't actually quite melt the paint, Mitch. It did liquefy it, but it just like bubbled, and those are scars from the bubbles. It's been repainted, and people that walk through the house won't notice this, but I will, because I saw it before it was fixed.
Yeah, it kind of blends into the texture that we put on the walls anyway.
Yeah, can you guys see those bubbles? Those bubble scars?
I mean, I can see them since you're pointing them out, but it blends into the wholly smooth
Yeah.
texture on the walls anyway.
Yep, I totally agree with you. So this is the other room that had like, it wasn't like a meth lab status, but for some reason this kitchen, though it has no barrier walls from between the kitchen and this living room, the kitchen had a meth contamination level of 12, while the living room was a 0.6. And I don't know why it's such a big difference. Maybe they were staying in the kitchen making food while they blew it against the wall or something. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's all resolved now. Meth. Mitch. I called you Meth. Mitch.
Nice.
I was gonna say, Mitch, that when I was upstairs, you mentioned that there's a beam and load-bearing walls and stuff. I immediately thought about this section. This used to be a wall, everybody, and then had to put a beam there.
So let me share. So
Go ahead.
So this section where you see this post, we put that in. So this was one of the ways that we got a ton of money off this house. The previous owners had knocked out a wall that was there to open up the basement and make it bigger, right? Make that one big open room. The problem was the wall they knocked out was load bearing. So when we bought the house, the kitchen floor actually sunk like this, where that load bearing wall is in the kitchen, to the tune of about 6 inches from the front door, right? So obviously gradual on that span, but still, this was a house that should have been condemned had the city found out about it. We were able to get $50,000 off our original asking price. When we ran our quick analysis, that's the number we made on the offer. When we did our long analysis, our inspection, that's when the inspector's like, there's supposed to be a load bearing wall there, and there's a 6-inch variance in the floor. It's bowing. So we got $50,000 off. This beam, it's actually steel, and then we wrapped it in concrete. This beam was just under $5,000. So there's, if you watch the off-market deals on tap classes where we go through the deal spotter system, and that's where we talk about the quick analysis phase and the long analysis phase. That's where you're going to be able to really capture a lot more profit out of a deal, is when you go back and renegotiate during that long analysis phase when you find the problems with the property, right? So that was one of them. Now we do that often. Tyson brought up how the state of Utah Health Department has a list of meth contaminated homes. Oftentimes we use that as a lead generation source. We'll go buy those homes.
Yes, we do.
I love meth, not for using it, but because it contaminates houses and I can get a great deal on them, right? And
you love meth unless it's in your own house, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. but I use the saying all the time. I think I make more money on meth than Heisenberg. And the reason is because we're out buying these meth contaminated houses, and we're remediating it. Usually I can get a $30,000 discount on the house on average if it's got meth in it. And it only costs us $3-4 to remediate, right? So we're making 10 times. We're getting a 10 times discount on the cost of actually remediating the problem. So it's a great way to go out and find those deals.
All right. I do want to say one more comment about meth, and then I can move on to the next horror story for this property. The reason we had meth contamination is because we use it as a short-term rental. That doesn't mean that when you use your property as a short-term rental, it's going to be contaminated with meth. But it is a risk that is inherently there because you have people rapidly cycling through your house. And so it's just something that you can be prepared for in case it ever happens. Hoping like hope for the best, but expect the worst. I think that would not be a bad approach for that issue. All right. When we switched, when we had it as a short-term rental originally, we had the whole house as one unit, but then we switched management companies to Home Havens, which I think all of you know about this company because they teach short-term rental class, including separate the top from the bottom with this door and frame a door in, and then get a fridge and of all the stuff to make it so this is a separate unit. And then we started making more money on this property. It was awesome. About a month after she started renting this out for us, or rather managing it for us, there was an issue with a water line to the water heater inside this furnace room, and it leaked a little bit, and the basement flooded. So they call us and I was like, hey, your basement's flooded. Oh, great. Now what? Now what do we do about that? But it was resolved. This baseboard, whoops. There's a baseboard behind all those pictures. It was water stained. It was all yellow. I had to paint over it, I think 6 or 10 layers of white paint before it would stop bleeding through the paint. That's before I learned about a product called Kills. It's oil-based, and you only need 1 or 2 coats. But now I know that for next time. So this room is just a transition into the bathroom and one of the bedrooms down here. You probably have all learned already that most of the money when you do a flip goes into the kitchen and the bathrooms. That's what sells the house. More than other things. Here's bedroom number 1 downstairs. This is an average size bedroom. The reason I emphasize average size is because you'll see the next sizes of the next 2 bedrooms. There it is. Can you tell how big this is? Using the 2 twin beds for scale. I wish my bedroom was this big. My bedroom is like a quarter this size. So while I'm walking to the next bedroom, I'll tell you guys the next story. Okay. So, let's see. We found the meth that was being cleaned up, and I was here just getting some stuff ready for the meth treatment itself, which is moving things out of the kitchen and moving things out of the master bath so that they could treat those areas. Well, that night after I came and moved stuff, someone broke in. They broke in their house and they stole a bunch of it was dish soap and dumb stuff like that. But first, they had a pry bar. Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Your audio is cutting in and out a little bit though.
Okay. They tried breaking in with a pry bar, shoving it in the door jamb. And then he had a friend, and his friend was able to pull the sliding glass, and it got in that way. They stole a TV. They opened up imagine walking into your house and seeing every drawer and every cabinet wide open and things just like ransacked. That's how this house was. So I was just there, walked in, and I'm just like, I just wanted the meth, the drug addicts, and the robbers and thieves to leave us alone. Stop bothering us.
It really has been a bit of a nightmare of a property. I mean, it really has. But you know, at the end of the day, we're going to get paid, and it's going to be nice. So
yeah.
Time heals all in real estate. That's the moral of the story this week.
This is another big bedroom. We used to have 6 bunk beds in here. I learned later the bunk beds is not the best choice for a short-term rental. It rents better when there's trundle beds instead, or king size, queen size beds. anyways, so, and then you might be wondering what's in this. It's just under the stairs. That's it. And Mitch, I think you guys added a bathroom here,
We
didn't you?
converted it from a 3/4 bath to a half bath. They had stuff to go in there.
Okay.
You can see how tight it is, just even as a half bath. They had stuff to shower in there as well, and it just felt way too cramped. So we just tore the shower out. We added the bathroom to your right. So
Which explains why there's fresh framing in the utility room, right?
yep. So behind that wall that's right in front of you, you can kind of see the coloration of the studs. Those are new studs, and if you go a little bit to
Yep.
the right, listen, you'll see
These
the
are old studs.
Yeah. So behind that wall, it was all unfinished. It was all just one giant room for the furnace and water heater, which were kind of at the front of the room. If you show where the furnace and water heater are, we didn't
Yep.
move those, right? That's where they were. So if you go around and show them what we made, so that was actually the only access. So Tyson, go around into the front room.
Okay. By the way, Mitch, I think this is wasted space. I know it's all said and done, but
It's a wet wall. It has to be there. It's got to be.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
sometimes,
going out and then turn left,
yep.
go into the other bathroom.
Yep. So pause right here. So this opening actually was not there. The only way to that section of the basement was through the furnace room, and it was all unfinished. They were using it as like what do you call it? Workshop, right? Like a workshop area. So we cut that opening that you see right there, and basically everything on the other side of that opening is new. We finished it. So if you go through Tyson, you'll see there's a bedroom back there, as well as that bathroom. That bathroom we added. It's a full bath. So adding a bedroom and a bathroom to your house is a great way to drive value. It's a great way to get that ARV up.
I don't know how closets go with adding value, but I love this closet.
Yeah,
It's really
right.
big.
A lot of storage space. It's perceived value. It may not have a dollar amount assigned to it, but it's perceived value. It just makes the house more sellable. Just another thing that people like, right?
Yep.
So
And
there
these
you go.
lights, pretty sweet lights.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve, for that.
Okay, last thing that I can think of is to show you the wood in the front, because I'm going to forget if I don't do it now. And then maybe give a shot in the backyard. It's dark, so I'm not sure if you guys can see anything, but we'll give it a try.
I think it's going to be too dark. So let's get a shot of the front, and then let's go into the question and answer period. Actually, I got one thing I want to share before we get into the question and answer. So
This house used to be red brick, and
pink brick.
this is the front. Pink brick.
It was
Right.
pink brick, and then where
It has
where this rough cut pine is,
I was going to
there's
say it has a
paneling that was painted bright green. So it was pink and green before.
ideal colors for a house that's 7. But right outside this window, the previous owner, there's a RV pad, and you can't see it because it's dark, but there's a big RV pad. I helped Mitch increase his return every month by renting out a space for an RV, and the guy pays Mitch $60 a month to store his RV there. Which, by the way, Mitch, I'm going to contact him, I think tonight or tomorrow, and have him move it so it can show better this weekend.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, well, everybody, I'm done showing you the house. What questions do you have about what we
Get
did?
into the question and answer period, one quick thing I want to share, and then we'll dive into questions. So, guys, we've been making some changes. 2020 was obviously a rough year for everybody. For Maylee and I, we definitely struggled during 2020, and business took a little bit of a hit, the coaching side especially. But we've kind of revamped for 2021. We've got a new business model that we're pushing, and I want to share with you guys because I think there's a lot of value that can be taken from the direction that things are going. And by the way, 2021 has already, even just the month of January, it's already shaping up to be such a better year than 2020 has. So I hope the rest of you are feeling that same way. And if there's anything I can do to help make your businesses better, you know that I'm here for you. However, we've launched 2 YouTube channels. One of them I've already shared with you. So your support is appreciated. If you guys will watch the videos, at the very least, if you'll go subscribe to the channel, that's the way that YouTube, it measures our success more than anything else, is the number of subscribers that we have. So we have our before and after fix and flip channel. This is very educational. We show you the stuff that we put into the houses and the strategies that we use to list it. And we talk about decisions that we make and why we make them on the houses, and what they look like, at the beginning, and then the process going to what they look like after, and the process to listing them and selling them. So that's the first channel listed there in the chat. The channel's called Flippin' Sexy Real Estate. That's the fix and flip before and after channel. We just started that in December, so there's 3 episodes up. We're working on the 4th one. That should be up in the next couple of weeks. Now, we also launched the Flippin' Sexy Real Estate Education channel. I have taken, now I know everybody on this call paid for their education and coaching, so don't get offended by this, because there's a difference between what you guys are getting and what people are going to be getting on this channel. But I decided to make the video library portion of my education free. Part of the reason that I coach is because I am passionate about seeing other people make the change in their life that I made, and that led to the amount of success that I've been able to have over the last decade. I'm passionate about seeing other people do that. That's why I coach. That's why I make these videos, right? So I wanted to reach more people, and I thought the only way to do that was to allow people who don't have $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 to be able to get educated and start the process. So I still charge for my time, for my coaching. And that's what, all of you paid for, was my time and my coaching, and all you have a direct channel to me. But I've made the video library free. Now, we've talked about on previous weeks, Knowledge Source was my education manager, my brand manager for 2020. I did not renew my contract with Knowledge Source. Fantastic company. I love them. I think it was just the timing just wasn't right. And, with the pandemic and everything. And so we kind of made a decision to go separate ways. I took the intellectual property, which I retained the rights to in that agreement. I took the intellectual property. I made it free to everybody. So this is where your login that you have for your education, that's still going to work. That was part of our agreement, is that they would still provide customer service to all of my students. And of course, I'm still here every week, right? We're going to keep working together no matter what for life. You're stuck with me. But all of the new classes, everybody's going to want to go subscribe to this, because any of the new classes I come out with, they're not going to be behind your login that you got when you purchased your education in 2020 or years past. The new education, the stuff I release going forward from today, will be uploaded to this YouTube channel. So you're going to want to subscribe. You're going to want to ring the bell so that you know when those new classes are dropped. You can go in. It's all organized by playlist. So we still have modules, right? Each video is maybe a 20, 30, 40-minute module, and it's organized into maybe a 10-module class. Those classes are on the playlist tab. So you just go to the channel. There's that link there. You click on the playlist tab, you'll be able to see a list of all the classes. Click on the one you want, and you'll see the 10 to 15 videos that comprise that class. So, and you all can always reach out to me at any time. If you're struggling with it, I can walk you through it. And then obviously everybody on this call has paid for their coaching. I'm still available. I'm not going anywhere unless I die, right? But other than heaven forbid, other than that happening, I'm here. And we're going to make it happen. So let's push forward into 2021. Let's all go be hyper successful this year. And I'm excited to be a part of all the amazing transactions that you guys are doing. I know some of the people on this call are just killing it. And we've had lots of conversations about different deals you guys are working on. So keep it up. Let's keep pushing. But this is the new direction. And I'm excited to have you guys be a part of it. I want to make sure that you guys get the value out of it. So the only way that I can do that is if you guys go and subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that bell icon because that means it's going to notify you whenever new classes are dropped. And because the market's changing again, we're coming out of this pandemic stuff now. The market's changing again. So I'm updating a lot of the classes to be more consistent with what the market's doing now versus what the market was doing a year ago. Aw, thanks, Hillary. I appreciate that. Making me blush. No, so it's just a way for us to more easily provide value to you guys, and that's really what's important to me is that we're providing the max. Tyson and I had a conversation less than an hour and a half ago about how can we provide more value. This is one of the ways we think we can do it is by making information more accessible to all of you. So go check it out, subscribe, ring the bell. With that said, let's get into question and answers. What do you guys, what questions do you guys have? I mean, this was really kind of me, showing you the skeletons in the closet on, this was not an ideal real estate investment. This was a headache and a frustration since we finished the construction. Really, the construction process on this one was a headache and a frustration. So
yeah, Mitch, I was gonna say we forgot one horror story. You have to fire the contractor, big Tongan guy.
Yeah, we had a contractor.
Go ahead and tell that story.
Yeah, we had a contractor in there that Steve and I had to go in and fire him one day, and I wasn't sure we were going to make it out with our lives. He got really upset, started punching holes in the wall, was screaming and hollering and yelling at us. And by the way, on his phone, which he had in his shirt pocket, he was listening to a religious conference. He was listening all about his religion while he was screaming and yelling and swearing and punching holes in the wall after we had fired him. So, whatever. But I thought that was just kind of funny, a funny detail of that day. But luckily Steve and I made it out without a scratch. We did fire the guy. We had to bring in a new contractor that ended up costing us some money. That's actually why I think it didn't sell the first time, is because we had, whenever you have to fire a contractor and bring in a new one, there's always extra costs in that. There's going to be extra time for them to figure out what the last contractor did, sometimes fix some of their stupid mistakes, and then continue on with the project. So we ended up spending more than what our budget was, and we had to list the house a little higher than we had originally anticipated, and higher than we should have, so that we didn't take a loss. And that's what kind of we had decided with the partners in on this deal to do was, hey, let's list it at where we need it to be and see if it'll happen. If not, we'll turn it into a rental. And that's what ended up happening. We turned it into a rental. We listed it again about 9 months ago. Sat on the market for 3 months, turned it back into a rental. There were a few months where I had to float the mortgage payment out of my own pocket. Luckily, we were in a situation where we were able to do that, right? Sometimes that happens, right? But then now we're to a point where the value, I mean, our original ARV on this was $790. We're going to be listing this for $875, and we really should be listing it for $900. So we think we're going to push above $900. During the last 2 years, we've been paying the mortgage down. So we went from a projected $60,000 profit to over $100,000 profit. Pretty awesome. So questions, let's dive in. This is my point, right? With this massive headache that we had, this terrible albatross of a property, we're still coming out on top. We're making more money than we originally anticipated. And Wade and I are going to go cash our checks, jumping and clicking our heels because, it was, at the end of the day, it was a success. And again, the moral of today's lesson is time heals all in real estate. So we have to set up these properties so that we can afford ourselves the luxury of time if we need to take it. Because, 2 years makes all the difference. 2 years turns a loss into $100,000 win, right? So that's the key. All right. Haha, Rosa, she subscribed. I love it, Rosa. You're checking it out. Subscribe while you're on there if you haven't already. We should have knocked it down, 250,000 to 830,000. That's another headache of a property, by the way.
That's one of my properties too.
Mauricio, I answered your question before I read the question. Not 500s. This is in Holiday, Utah, a very desirable neighborhood. This same house, if we picked it up and moved it, 10 miles
5
away,
miles west.
Yeah, if we had moved it to West Valley or West Jordan, maybe the house would sell for high 4s to high 5s. But because it's in Holiday, a very desirable part of Salt Lake County, it's a $900,000 house. Location, right? Thank you, Rosa. Rosa subscribed. Ring the bell. Thank you. Honestly, that's the best way to show your support right now. YouTube tracks our metrics based on who subscribes. So I really appreciate that. It also benefits you because you get notified when there's new stuff to learn, right?
What questions do you guys have? It doesn't need to be related to what we just talked about tonight. It can also be something that you are working on your end. Like maybe you want to do a land deal. Maybe you're trying to do a short-term rental or make contact with some professionals and interview them. Is there anything going on like that?
Should it be standard procedure on meth inspection? So
Good
I think,
question.
Rosa, your question is, should we do meth inspections as a standard procedure?
Cameras pointed
Always,
my way.
always before you buy the property, right? This is part of what you do during your long analysis, during your due diligence. Always do meth inspections, always, because it can work in your favor and work for your benefit. Red flags in real estate don't always necessarily mean run away. In fact, more often they just mean an opportunity for you to make more money, right? And if you catch the meth before you buy it, it becomes a negotiation tactic. If you catch the meth after you buy it, then it becomes your problem, right? And you don't want a problem. So always, 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 good call. Eugene, did you have a question?
Mitch, I was talking to one of the other investors, Andrew Coates, and he was telling me that one of his properties, the contractor had a subcontractor who was smoking meth while working on the house when it was almost done. That would be so frustrating, wouldn't it?
Yep.
You think it's free of meth, but then it's become contaminated.
Contaminated again.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, Eugene, your turn, my friend.
All right, Eugene. I'm
Yes.
done.
So I mean, the market is just, there is nothing at the moment. Anyway, so I started focusing a little bit on these properties that have been there for 90 days plus. But anyway, I found this one property had been on the market for just over a year, and a bit of a struggle, but I got hold of the listing agent, and it turns out apparently the big issue with this property is that it has oil tanks that have been buried, and apparently it's leaking as well. And I mean, just remediation could be as low as 400,000. I mean, the property is worth maybe just 300. So it was interesting, that, when you see some of these older properties, which, might be where you think there's a bargain, make sure you get the story, So
Yeah. Just another
was
testament to do your inspection, right? Your inspection.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
numbers, do your inspection. So the remediation was going to be 400,000.
Well, that's what they suspect, and nobody. I mean, why would they want to touch a property? And the owners just aren't interested, So it's. I mean, it's a pretty nice house. They've done a lot of nice upgrades and so on, but that's sort of the big issue at the moment, and nobody wants to tackle that. So, but again, yes, we just show you, just be careful, and just having that rapport and speaking to the realtor. So, I mean, I didn't waste time in setting things up. It was just having this initial conversation and just getting to know why the property is out there, and so that was pretty helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's a property that you just want to run away from, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, the realtor said, just walk away. You don't even entertain this. So yeah, she must be pretty frustrated as well.
Well,
What if you offered, I'll buy it for $50,000?
But the problem is, Tyson, the ARV is 300, and the cost to remediate the problem is 400.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of
Okay.
50,000.
Right, and the problem is, if once they start opening up and they find that the seepage has gone down, to a certain depth, all of that soil has to be taken out, has to be tested by the state, and then you've got to go, backfill all of that soil again. So that's where your problem. So it could come up to 800,000, depending on how much soil and what kind of issues they have.
Right. I understand. I actually missed that detail when you were explaining it the first time.
Because
there was hammering in the background. I was, and then, and then my non-serious thought about that is, what if you went to her and said, how about this? You pay me $200,000 and give me your gift from you. Anyways, only way that could work, right?
Yeah, give me money and the property.
Exactly.
Because that's the only way it's going to work for me.
I love it. All right. I love the comment. Thank you, Eugene.
Okay.
All right. So any other questions? If not, we're past the hour here, so we can do a couple more questions. It's up to you guys, or we can wrap the call up right now. You guys are in the driver's seat. You make the call. Going once. Going twice. All right, guys, let's wrap up this call. I will be back here. I promise you. I will be back here next week. I will not miss another one. I promise. I've
There's
said
a question.
redundant. Oh, what's the question?
I think wants to know about your opinion about the market in Utah in 6 months.
You know, it's anyone's guess. Right now, inventory, and this is true across the United States with few exceptions. The exceptions would be specialized markets, areas and cities that focus on one industry only. But most cities are diversified enough that I think, you know, you could pretty safely say across the United States that it's going to be fairly consistent, right? Inventory's low. Inventory's low, and that means demand is high, supply's low, prices are still going up, interest rates are still low. You know, Utah, the Mountain West in general, I think is an area that's going to do very well for the next several years. So, you know, Charlotte, you're in New Mexico. I think you're the only other Mountain Wester other than my Utah buddies that are on the call. But, you know, I think the Mountain West is going to do very well. We're getting an influx of people moving into the area versus, you know, you see a lot of people moving out. California's population is shrinking. It shrunk in 2020. So, you know, you're seeing a lot of those people move here into the Mountain West, Arizona, Idaho, Wyoming. You know, we're all seeing a boom. There's, you know, the political climate. I don't think just because one person was elected is enough to say the real estate market's going to do this because so-and-so was elected, right? It's not just the fact that they were elected. It's what's their policy going to be. So if we start to see interest rates go up, that's when we start looking. However, Mauricio, the real key here is exactly what we did on this property, structuring them in a way. You can't stop doing business. If we just said, well, I'm not going to invest for the next 6 months, I'm going to sit on my hands because I'm worried about the market changing. Well, we would always be sitting on our hands because the market's always going to change. So the key is right now, at this moment, it's a smart thing to be flipping. So go flip, but just make sure you structure. And by the way, the class you can check out on our Flippin' Sexy Real Estate Education channel, the class you can check out is the off-market deals on tap class, or no, excuse me, the using other people's money class. So that's going to teach you how to structure a debt equity blend. That is what protected us on this deal. That's what, even though we had all of those bad things happen, the fact that we structured it as a debt equity blend means that Wade and I get to cash a fatty check at the end of this thing, right? We get paid for all those headaches, dang it. So, you know, that's what's going to protect you. If the market changes and you're not structured the right way, you're kind of screwed. But but you can go out and flip now with the confidence of knowing, hey, look, the market keeps going great. I'm going to keep making money. If the market changes, I'm going to keep making money, right? And that's what that strategy is for. So go check it out. It's the other people's money class, specifically the debt equity blend module on the Flippin' Sexy Real Estate Education channel. So I'm going to post those links one more time in case you didn't get it. Oops. That was the Dawn. Sorry.
I want to offer a different perspective from Mark Kohler.
Tyson, you're breaking up.
Mark
Really
on the
hard to
webinar. Is it better now?
Yep.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to offer a different perspective from yours, Mitch. I was on a webinar with Mark Kohler a couple weeks ago, and I'm not going to go into it, but he just said that. So Mark Kohler is a business attorney and CPA, And he mentioned that a lot of his clients are currently unloading all their real estate. They're selling and waiting for prices to go down, because the rate that prices are going up, at least here in Utah, it's going up so fast. A lot of people can't imagine how that could be sustainable for a long period of time. That's my comment.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that actually goes in line with what I said. You know, it probably will change, right? In the next 6 months, I don't know. Will it change in the next 6 years? Probably, right? Will it change in the next 6 months? Maybe. But it will change. I can tell you that. It could change in the next 6 hours. I don't know. The key to being safe is structuring right? Because in a case like this, there could have been, 100 bad things happened to us, but 1,000,000 bad things could have happened to us. And even if more bad things had happened to us, let's say all the bad things that did happened, plus the market changed and the value dropped and all those things, we'd still be fine. Wade and I would still be fine, because now we've got a rental. And here's the thing about the real estate market is it's unique compared to any other investment category: business, stocks, commodities, retail, you name it. There is always demand. The demand in real estate never goes down. It just shifts. Whereas the demand, the demand for video rental stores, VHS tape rental stores, that went away, right? Nobody wants them anymore, right? So those businesses went away. But real estate, the demand will never go down, because people always need a place to live. The demand just shifts. It shifts from people buying to people renting. And guess what? The product is still real estate. So we just have to change our strategy, right? And that's the purpose of these calls, is so that we can talk about what's going on in the market. And if there's any major changes, we can bring it up. We had the day before the election, the presidential election, we had an awesome class, right? An awesome discussion on what to do if one or the other person gets elected. And it came back to the same thing: invest in real estate. Because no matter what either of them does, people are still going to need a place to live, and they're either going to buy or they're going to rent. So learn both strategies, right? And all those strategies are available to you on our channel there. So, but I mean, Tyson, that's great insight. A lot of people are unloading their real estate portfolios. That's fantastic. I'm still buying. Look, while prices are up, and this is smart, right? This is the first rule of investing: sell high, buy low, sell high. Don't buy high and sell low. That's stupid. Buy low, sell high. They bought when the market was down back in 2011. The market's at its peak now, 10 years later in 2021. They're selling. And you know what they're going to do with their cash? They're not going to sit on it. They're not going to build a giant mountain out of it and climb to the top, and then that's what they do for the rest of their lives. They're going to hang on to it for a second, wait for the market to shift, and then all the prices drop, and they'll go back and buy those same houses again, or different houses, but they're going to buy them all at a discount, right? And then they're going to ride that market cycle again. So that's one way to invest, right? We can unload all the houses while the market's high. I've sold a bunch of my rental properties off in 2020, because prices are soaring, and they're still soaring, right? But B, it gave me an opportunity to go out and do some awesome other investments. And, like I said, business was tough in 2020. The pandemic was hard for everybody, and continues to be hard. I get the feeling that we're kind of coming out of that difficulty in the market and in the economy, but it provided a savings account for me. So that's what's going on there. Is they bought low, they're selling high, and when the market cycles and the prices are low again, they're going to take that same cash and they're going to buy 4 times as many properties low, and it'll go high, and then they'll just keep doing that, right? So it's a great play. All right. Yeah. November, Ogden was number 9, Salt Lake City number 5, Provo number 2 nationwide, Boise number 1 nationwide. Yeah, the Mountain West is hot right now. Absolutely. Okay. Don, what about manufactured homes? Are they worth looking at? Don, be careful, because manufactured homes are really hard to get financing for. So I actually did a manufactured home out in Tooele, and still, we ended up having to seller finance it because nobody.
That was my first deal, by the way.
Yeah. So it was a little crazy, but we ended up figuring it out, right? We always figure it out. That's what we do as real estate investors. We're problem solvers, whether it's other people's problems or our own problems that we have to solve. That's what we do. But manufactured homes are tough. So just be careful because they're harder to sell. You can make it look beautiful, but at the end of the day, it's harder to sell and harder for your buyer to get financing for than just a traditional stick-built house. So, okay. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up at this point. Guys, thank you so much for joining the call today. Make sure you check out those links and subscribe because we got lots of awesome content. That's my goal for 2021 is I just want to inundate you with 10 times the content that I did last year. And with the goal of it making you smarter and savvier to be able to go out and invest in real estate on your own and accomplish the things you want to accomplish. So go do that. You guys, you know how to get a hold of me. You can email me, you can text me, you can call me. If at any time you need anything, Coach Dan's also here for you as well. Tyson's here for you as well. So we've got an amazing team of people here to serve you. So I love you all. Please be safe. Please stay healthy. And at the very latest, I will see you next Tuesday at the same time, same link, same place. We'll see you then. Take care, guys.